So where I start this video, yeah, my relatives, and not just my relatives. I was thinking, it brings up like a memory of my aunt Donna. I was over their house. What's up in like 2000 post 2009? I know that. I think 12 maybe. I don't know. Maybe a little bit earlier, 13. I don't know. But just say I'm over there and she sarcastically, passive aggressively, sarcastically, I should say, says, "Oh, isn't it good aunt?" And I don't know if she was talking about her or my aunt Martha. It was sarcastic. It wasn't a good aunt. It was something to get either police on me, which I was something I didn't do. But then I started thinking, how many times I was over their house, including Martha Scrupa's house, and I didn't know. See, it's an illusional manipulation, sense manipulation these individuals were doing. All my relatives predominantly participated in that. They're like a lot of people that just, they participate. They do that to people, including myself. Strangers did that to me too, that I didn't know, you know? And usually it's like, if they're offended by something, even a thought, I believe, or maybe it's spoken, if they're offended, they think they're right, what they would do, they would take me in the home and I wouldn't see their house. I would think I was at my house. I was explaining this all over again. And then it was just like, I don't know, it was just like moments spent with each other. Or I thought I was, by myself, but I was experiencing them around, actually, in a different kind of mental sense, And the whole time I didn't know. A couple of times I caught attention to that. The one time that I reminded, it was the election. Barack Obama was running against John McCain. And I guess I must have been going to Massachusetts because I was sitting in my, upstairs attic room. I thought it was by the computer, but there was hardly anything on. It was so boring. And all I do is look out the window, And I experienced like, my Uncle Stanley. I guess his friend Tom was there, might have been. Because later Stan Lemmick said they went to Massachusetts the whole time. He was slurping like with his nose. Well, like sniffing, like I don't know what he was going through, but he was a drinker. I don't know if it attributes to that, or maybe he had allergies. I don't know. I don't know. They get along, so they probably could say it. I wouldn't joke about that. But anyway, and I remember it was that day, and it was, and I wouldn't commemorate that. I mean, I did, but I saw Jon Stewart, The Daily Show, following day or days after, and Jon Stewart was making fun of John McCain being old, which of age, older, and referred to him as a prune, a delicious prune. And instantly, I should backtrack, but what happened was I thought I was sitting there in my room, and it must have been Massachusetts. I guess they had a rally or something like that. John McCain was there, and I think I wanted to go downstairs and get a thing of prunes. That was before Jon Stewart said that, and I went downstairs to the kitchen, my parents, they had the refrigerator there, and up top was a cupboard. And I opened, I was just, prune would be just so great right now. It's just so fun. I'm laughing at it, but it's not really funny. And I don't know if must have been John McCain. I don't know if the security service knocked me out or something. I have no memory of that. The next thing I remember, I woke up, it was night. I checked, and I remember laying down on my left shoulder, my left side, and I had so much pain. I still have a residual damage pain all through the shoulder, And I woke up, I was like, and I looked outside the window. It was a second floor, and there was two police officer vehicles standing in front of each other, parked. They're blocking the driveway. Actually, I was like, "What happened? What's going on?" I didn't go downstairs, and they were empty. There was nobody in there. I remember. I mean, it was a very odd experience, and then I started putting together. I guess I was at the rally or something. I must have tried to touch John McCain. I didn't really thought of John McCain as a prune. I don't see people like that. And then the reason behind that, we get old, humans, pretty much old beings, and we develop wrinkles. I have bags on my eyes. I have wrinkles too. It's a natural thing. And then I started thinking man, that's kind of crazy. Honestly, honestly, not dishonestly, but if I was in a real physical setting, I wouldn't even think of touching or grabbing or even saying anything, especially in that time. Right now, probably a lot of people, I probably would have asked a question or two or made a remark, but then what's the point? We're not going to have a conversation, so there's no point in that. Especially when there's a lot of people or anything like that, So it's a lot of times things happen like that, A lot of things happen like that. Individuals were something else that, you could say, well, that person is skinny. A memory popped up. He's he's like a green onion or something, or scallion. Then the nickname came about. You know, in reality, it was like a whole bunch. I think it was scallion sitting in a chair, just sitting on a chair. Like I'm joking, and it was a male in Poland, and I didn't see him. You know, so a lot of individuals knew what was going on. They still do. They still do. You know, but when it happens to you, I never fully enjoyed it. I never enjoyed it. And a lot of times, yeah, I had to laugh at things because what are you gonna do? And I guess the thing to do is actually, say, from a different standpoint, I was just so out of it a lot of times. I had so much trauma. I couldn't stand up for myself. I have a voice right now. I have a voice. I had a voice for almost 5 years. None of those people are around, actually. A lot of them put their face down because they don't want people to know how they really are. You know? Sirens in the background. But yeah, it was never good. I never liked it, and yeah, it was just an experience, and I felt bothered. I was like, I mean, like I wouldn't touch John. Was it John McCain? And it was just so crazy, if I could say that word. Not even crazy, just absurd and out of the world. It felt like dangerous. And I remember going through phase. I don't know if that time after 2012, but multiple times, just like checking my car if anyone was there. But I could never get actually a good check. The only thing I already said it, I could take a picture, but then if somebody wants, my picture would just be deleted. A picture of any of the vehicle inside. Like if I and I started doing it, but I never really called anybody. And a lot of times, like I would check the seats, but who knows? It's like it's like if somebody's sitting there, would I touch the leg? It coincides, I guess, like with a certain kind of boundary that I guess I don't know if I went like around them or if I actually touched them, because I didn't feel anything. I did that a lot of times, actually. Yeah, that's it's just on my mind right now, and yeah, not gonna say what I'm gonna do because it's not that type of video. This is mostly it about that. And a lot of times I felt like I was a lot of places I didn't know, including my relatives, actually. You know, and the fact that they had me in such a mental suppression, I called it entrapment, because they entrapped me. They controlled me and they entrapped my mind, my being. The last time I remember, I was thinking about something, and then my Aunt Donna over there, I heard a voice, ESP wise, telepathically, like, what do you need to do that for? Because I was reading on Google how a human being, a mind, thinks, whether it's pictures or in thoughts or in words, percentages wise. So Donna Nimick, my Aunt Donna, she's one of those individuals that didn't want me to fully find success or wisdom or anything in life. And yeah, she went out of her way to hurt me in so many other ways. And I don't know, how many people participated, but her husband Stanley was definitely driving, I believe. And I guess the guy Tom, at the time he was there, they used to work together, or they still do, or something like that. They had a long relationship. I remember Tommy, I forget his last name, but I knew him from the '90s when I was a child. And those individuals had, I guess, no problem doing that. It's beyond. I mean, it's a sociopathic versus psychopathic, kind of mentality that these individuals possess.